You know how everyone jokes about moving to Canada after an election? Well, this time it wasn't just talk for some students.
Yeah, for real.
We're going to deep dive into some data from study portals.
Okay.
It's this global platform where millions of students go to find study abroad programs.
Right.
And the numbers are pretty wild after the 2024 election.
Yeah, so the day after the election, study portals saw inquiries from American students just completely explode.
Explode. How much are we talking?
A 500% jump.
500%. So that's 5 times the usual volume.
Exactly. 5 times more students thinking about studying abroad than normal.
Wow. That's more than just a few extra clicks.
Yeah, and study portals usually see some upticks in traffic after big political events. That's kind of expected.
Sure.
But this spike was really off the charts.
So was it all just talk, or did students actually go through with it?
Well, it's still early, but it definitely suggests that at least some students were seriously considering their options.
So where were they all looking to go?
Was it a mass exodus to Canada?
Yeah. Was it just Canada?
Canada definitely saw a huge increase. I mean, we're talking an 825%.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't just Canada. The UK, Germany, Ireland, and the Netherlands were also really popular.
So it seems like students were looking at a bunch of different options.
Yeah, they were casting a wide net.
That's interesting. It doesn't seem like they were just trying to escape.
Right. It wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction.
It seems more like they were actually thinking about what would be a good fit for them.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, studying abroad is a big decision.
For sure.
It's not just like picking a random country on a map.
No, you have to think about your goals and interests.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to figure out what you want to study and where you want to experience life.
And when you look at the data, American students have historically been less mobile than students from other countries.
Is that right?
Yeah. So this surge in interest could really be a sign of a bigger shift.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there are a few factors at play.
Okay, like what?
Well, first of all, American universities are often seen as the gold standard.
Right.
So there's this idea that you're getting the best education by staying here.
Makes sense. And I guess there's also this fear of missing out on the whole college experience here in the U.S.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. And then there's also the perception that studying abroad is super expensive.
Which it can be.
It can be, but there are also lots of affordable programs out there.
Really?
Yeah, and in some cases, it can actually be cheaper to study abroad than to stay in the U.S.
Interesting. Okay, so let's get back to the election.
Okay.
Do you think the results directly caused this surge in study abroad interest?
Well, it's hard to say for sure.
I mean, the timing is pretty suspicious.
Yeah, the timing is definitely suggestive. And
Yeah.
it's not the first time we've seen this kind of pattern.
Oh, really?
After the 2016 election, study portals also saw an increase in inquiries.
So maybe this election-driven study abroad bump is becoming a regular thing.
It's possible.
But does that mean that young people are actually fleeing the country because of who's in office?
Well, I think we need to be careful about making those kinds of generalizations.
Right? It's not that simple.
Exactly.
There are a lot of factors that go into a decision like studying abroad.
Absolutely. And while there's this narrative that young voters totally rejected the winning candidate, the data tells a more complicated story.
Really?
Yeah, for example, Kamala Harris's share of the 18 to 24-year-old vote was actually a bit lower than Biden's in 2020.
Huh, that's interesting. It challenges the idea that young people were completely against the re-elected president.
Right. It's important to remember that political views are complex.
Okay, so we've got this mix of politics, wanderlust, maybe even a little bit of escapism.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
But regardless of the reasons, could this surge in study abroad interest actually be a good thing?
That's where things get really interesting.
How so?
The CEO of Study Portals has a pretty thought-provoking perspective on this.
What's that?
He thinks that more U.S. students studying abroad could actually make international education more symmetrical.
Symmetrical? What does that even mean?
He's talking about the flow of students. Right now, the U.S. gets a ton of international students, which is great.
Right, it enriches our universities and our society.
Exactly. But the flow in the other direction is much smaller.
So fewer American students are going abroad.
Yeah, precisely.
So by increasing the number of American students who study abroad,
Right.
we could create a more balanced exchange of knowledge and culture.
Exactly. And that's where the potential for peace building comes in.
Okay, I like where this is going. Tell me more.
So imagine students from different countries living and learning together.
Okay.
They start to see the world through different lenses.
Right.
They realize that their own perspective is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle.
And that can help to break down stereotypes and foster empathy.
Exactly.
It's about developing a more nuanced understanding of the world,
Right.
recognizing the things that we have in common, even though we come from different backgrounds.
And that understanding can be a powerful antidote to conflict and prejudice.
It's almost like planting seeds of peace and understanding all over the globe.
And those seeds can grow into something truly transformative.
Okay, so maybe this election-induced spike in study abroad interest is actually a good thing.
It's a possibility worth considering.
A chance for more American students to become global citizens.
And contribute to a more peaceful world.
This is making me want to dust off my passport. What about you?
There's this fascinating program in...
Hold that thought. We'll delve into specific destinations and what makes each one unique in a bit.
Yeah, it's more than just picking a place on a map.
Right.
It's a big decision.
So what kind of place are you drawn to?
Yeah. Are you more into like historical landmarks or cutting edge technology?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
see yourself like wandering through ancient ruins or navigating bustling city streets?
There's a whole world out there.
For sure.
So let's start with a classic, the UK.
Okay.
It's always been super popular with American students.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, for one thing, there's no language barrier.
True.
And their universities have this amazing reputation, centuries of academic prestige. Yeah, Oxford, Cambridge names, everyone knows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the history.
Oh, yeah, all those castles and cathedrals.
Right. You could literally walk in the footsteps of Shakespeare.
That's pretty cool.
So for students who are really serious about their academics,
Right.
the UK is a great option.
Makes sense. But maybe you're looking for something a little bit more off the beaten path.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean.
What about Germany?
Oh, Germany is awesome.
It's known for its engineering and technology, right?
Yeah, they're really at the forefront of innovation.
Plus, it's supposed to be pretty affordable.
Way more affordable than the US or the UK.
And the culture is so rich.
Totally. From the Berlin art scene to the Bavarian Alps, there's something for everyone.
Okay, so we've got the UK for history and academics, Germany for technology and affordability.
Right.
What about Ireland?
Oh, Ireland is magical.
The land of storytellers and breathtaking scenery.
And the people are so friendly.
It seems like a really welcoming place.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to adjust to life there.
Plus, they have a growing tech industry, too.
Oh, yeah. Dublin is becoming a major hub for tech companies.
Okay, so Ireland has culture tech and friendly people.
Pretty much.
What about the Netherlands?
The Netherlands is all about progressive thinking and multiculturalism.
Amsterdam is like the poster child for that.
Right, with its canals and museums and tolerant atmosphere.
And they're super into sustainability.
Yeah, they're leading the way in things like cycling and renewable energy.
So it seems like all of these destinations have something special to offer.
They do. Each one has its own unique flavor.
But they all share this common goal of providing a global education.
Right. It's about more than just what you learn in the classroom.
It's about immersing yourself in a new culture
Challenging your assumptions.
and developing skills that will help you succeed in a globalized world.
Exactly.
Speaking of a globalized world,
Yeah.
let's go back to that idea of symmetrical international education. The CEO of Study Portals thinks that more American students studying abroad could lead to a more balanced exchange of knowledge and perspectives.
Right.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. So imagine a two-way street.
Okay.
Right now, the U.S. is getting a lot of traffic from international students,
Right, which is great.
but the traffic going the other way is much lighter.
So we're not sending as many students abroad.
Exactly.
So if we increase the number of American students who study abroad,
Yeah.
we could create a more even flow of knowledge and culture.
Exactly. And that can have a ripple effect on the world.
How so?
Well, it starts with breaking down stereotypes.
Right, because when you live and learn with people from different cultures,
Yeah.
you start to see the world through their eyes.
You realize that your own perspective is just one way of looking at things.
It's about developing a more nuanced understanding of the world.
And that can help us to overcome conflict and prejudice.
So it's not just about personal growth.
No, it's about creating a more peaceful and just world.
It's like planting seeds of peace and understanding all over the planet.
Exactly. And those seeds can grow into something truly amazing.
This is making me think about my own experiences with different cultures.
Oh, yeah. What comes to mind?
Well, I remember this one time. Well, this has been a pretty fascinating deep dive.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We started with this whole thing about study abroad interest spiking after the election.
Right. And it turned into a much bigger conversation.
It really did. We talked about why students might be choosing to study abroad.
And the impact it could have on the world.
It's made me think about how important it is to get out of our comfort zones.
Yeah, to embrace new experiences.
Whether that's traveling to a new country or just talking to someone with different views.
It's all about expanding our horizons.
and challenging our assumptions.
Those are such important qualities.
Not just for us as individuals.
But for society as a whole.
So if you're feeling inspired to explore the world,
Yeah, if you're ready for an adventure,
don't wait. Just go for it.
there are so many amazing opportunities out there,
And tons of resources to help you find the perfect program.
no matter what you're interested in.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, shoot.
If you could study abroad anywhere in the world,
Anywhere at all.
where would you go?
And why?
Let those questions guide your exploration.
Who knows? Maybe we'll bump into each other in some far-off corner of the world.
That would be awesome.
Until then, safe travels and keep learning.
And thanks for joining us for this deep dive.